Welcome to tonight's episode of the Aliens and Cowboys podcast. I'm Garrett. With me are Nelly and Nate.
Yo.
Thank you, Nate. Joe is going to be absent tonight, but he'll be back with us next week. He's taking care of some family issues. Joe, see you next week. So tonight, we are going to finish off our third installment of the Taylor Sheridan trilogy with my personal favorite, Sicario. You guys excited for this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Finally here, Garrett. You've been waiting for this one.
Great movie. Yes. No, that's awesome. I am too. This is probably one of my favorite movies I've seen in the last, decade. It's probably in my top 5 favorite movies of all time right now. Obviously, before we do that, I wanted to remind you guys, if you didn't get a chance to listen or download, go out to the Watchmen for Nixon podcast. That's the spinoff that Joe and I are doing on the Watchmen series coming up on HBO this October. We did a recording of our thoughts on the Comic-Con trailer, as well as the kind of a brief mention of the series The Boys on Amazon, as well as breaking down the Watchmen movie from 2009, directed by Zack Snyder. So go out there, again, Watchmen for Nixon, download that, give us a rating, leave us a review, let us know what you think. How many of you guys downloaded that?
I'm anxiously anticipating
It's on the
listening
to-do
to that.
list.
Listen to you two. Didn't even download
Trying to
it.
catch up on Aliens and Cowboys still.
That's true. Nelly joining us late, still got 30 more episodes to listen to? Because we make them listen to all of them. We test them.
Got to.
Yeah. If you guys are wanting to join, it's applications. Send them to aliensandcowboys@gmail.com. So I wanted to talk to you guys about a couple of things. So I did see Lion King. Anybody seen that?
Not yet.
Pretty good. Not bad.
Heard good things.
Yes, it was good. I would say John Oliver, who plays Zazu, the bird. I don't know what kind of bird he is, but the bird that's like the...
John Oliver.
Sorry, John Oliver. Who did I say?
No, you said I'm trying to think who he is.
He's a HBO British comedy host. Does
Last Week Tonight.
Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Okay, yep.
He's great. He's probably the best part of the film. And then Seth Rogen as Pumbaa does a really good job. Not sure of the guy. I didn't even look up the cast, so I don't know who plays Timon. But Timon did a really good job too. So those 3 guys that are really the more comedic actors, awesome. Scar was good. Overall, good movie. As far as the live actions go, I would still say it's not as good as Aladdin because I actually really liked Aladdin. So if you haven't seen Aladdin, definitely check that out. But
How
this
did
was
they
pretty
train
good.
all the animals?
With great care. Actually, I think they're all CGI.
They still call it live action
I don't
when it's
know.
CGI'd?
Look, we got a job to do. I don't know.
That's a cop-out.
I have
Animals
no
were
idea.
harmed in the process.
Yeah. Anyways, it was good. Also, Succession started last week, HBO show. It's really good. If you haven't seen that, it's kind of the only way I heard somebody describe this, and it was an excellent description. It was, imagine if you're a Game of Thrones fan, and it's a story of the Lannisters, and Tywin Lannister was going to retire and leave the mantle of his empire or his kingdom to his kids. And it's basically the struggle between the 3 kids and who would take over. So it's kind of that good. It's like a politics. It's like a Game of Thrones without the violence. Pretty good. That came out this upcoming week. I'm super excited. Righteous Gemstones coming out on HBO as well.
I'm excited about that one too.
Yeah, Danny McBride. That's going to be Danny McBride, John Goodman, Adam Devine, and of course my personal favorite, Walton Goggins. So super excited for that.
He's everywhere.
He better be everywhere. That's going to cap off the Danny McBride trilogy that HBO has done. And I guess that's how he pitched it, was he kind of pitched it as, hey, this is a trilogy, right? Between Eastbound and Down, Vice Principals, and now the Righteous Gemstones. And if you haven't seen the trailer, Comic-Con released a trailer. It's excellent. It's about this televangelist family that's scamming people. And it's just looks hilarious. So watch that if you have a chance. So that's all I got for pop culture. Nelly, what do you got?
I got the Bourne spinoff TV show. The trailer came out.
Yeah, Treadstone.
Yep, Treadstone. Guessing it's about the creation of Treadstone.
Excellent, excellent analysis, Nelly. That's great.
Some of the quotes from the trailer that makes you think about how the show's going to go. A bunch of sleeper agents deployed under normal cover lives with no memory of their training. And another guy says, these people are still out there asleep and someone is waking them up. So it makes you think someone's going around and snapping the fingers.
The way you were reading that wake you up. It's funny though. Because I saw the trailer too, and it makes it seem like a little different than the Jason Bourne series, the movies.
Yeah.
That this is going to be about people who don't know they're Treadstone agents.
Yep.
And that something is triggering them to assassinate somebody.
Yep.
And I'm assuming the story is going to be one or two of these guys wakes up and realizes that something's amiss here.
Yep.
So what that reminds me of is like Zemo in Civil War when he goes to the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
He gives the codes and he just automatic goes to town and starts killing people.
Mission report. Mission
I
report.
missed that one, Civil War.
That's the best one. In my opinion, that's
Should
the
have
best
taken
one.
advantage when it was on Netflix.
Yeah, it's really good. I got the DVD. I'll let you borrow it.
Perfect.
Let you rent it, I mean. Got to make money off all these DVDs I
His
own.
favorite video was gone.
Nothing.
Yeah, no kidding. Thanks, Dollar General.
Yeah. Do you got anything else, Nelly, or is that it?
Nope, that was it.
All right. Nate?
Just one thing for me. I'm really looking forward to Borderlands 3. Release date, I think, is September 13th here coming up. So in about a month, I'll be able to play another first-person shooter, RPG, pausable game.
But you're not going to play that for like 5 years, right?
No, but I'll put some serious hours in. I'm sure.
Okay. You're going to buy this as it comes out new?
I haven't done this in so long. I had a couple weekends to myself, wife and daughter away. I went to Target and I was like, I'm going to buy myself a game. And I could not bring myself to buy a full-price game.
Why don't you just... You haven't even played Red Dead Redemption 2 yet. We've been trying to tell you to play.
Ouch.
Yeah, put it in my hand. I'll play it.
Take it tonight.
All right.
Xbox still
Slacking.
broke.
Deal.
Yeah.
That's all I had. I'm really looking forward to this Borderlands game.
Nice. That's good. Trying to think if there was anything else beyond that. I'm trying to think of any games. Next gen console, maybe 2020. Is that right?
2020, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to hold off on like either buying an Xbox, another one, or like getting this one fixed if it's going to cost money. So I'm hoping to wait to the next gen console and just
Might as well
purchase
wait.
that.
I'm to the PS5.
Are you switching?
Microsoft debate. I don't know.
We're Xbox. So Nate and I have been Xbox guys forever. And we've debated to switch it. Nelly is too. Nelly's an Xbox
Yeah.
guy.
I mean, I got a PS3 back when they came out. Just,
Okay.
There's some good games on PS3 exclusives.
Yeah, I did see that Xbox came out, the creator or whatever, somebody at Microsoft came out and was promising more like
So it's
single
content, right?
player
Yeah.
games is what he specifically labeled it.
Single player
games. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think I heard that more story-oriented single player.
That
Yeah.
fits my play style now as a dad.
Single
Where I
player
can
games.
Pause and come back to it. Yeah.
Yeah, can't pause online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try explaining that to your wife.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Doesn't work.
Yeah. So let's get to it. So let's get to Sicario here. Before we get to the synopsis, let's just do. What are your guys' thoughts on watching this movie? First time rewatching it.
Very real and raw and
Gruesome.
There are no truly pure-hearted individuals to make the right thing happen, I guess.
Okay. What do you got, Nell?
No, pretty much the same. It just accurately depicts the issues going on the border with the war on drugs and immigration and all that. But yeah,
I think this movie, and this was his first movie he wrote. So this started his career outside of acting. This movie is so, like you said, real, raw, anxiety, tension. I mean, the entire scene, and I'm sure we have this as our favorite scene. Not just coming over the border from Mexico back to the United States, which is best part of the film. The entire scene going from the United States to Mexico and back, like with the music that they had.
yeah,
It is just awesome. You know, it is tension built, and they do it the way they kind of like pull out and camera zoom in, pull out. It just really catches you for about a good 20 minutes.
yeah. That
You're just-
soundtrack, that eerie.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes,
Like
very-
something's about to happen.
Yeah, they were nominated for best sound editing and best, I think, score. So
Nice.
yeah, the composer. I think the composer passed away because he's not composing in the second one. So I think the guy that composed the movie is no longer living. So R.I.P. But excellent job. Great movie. How about before we get into other categories, Nate? Why don't you give us a synopsis of it?
Yeah, so this movie is kind of based around the character of Kate Mercer, which is played by Emily Blunt, Mary Poppins, if you know her from a kid movie. But she's awesome. She's also in the movie with Tom Cruise, Day After Tomorrow. Is that what it's called? Am I thinking of that? No.
Edge,
that's something
is it
else.
Edge of
Edge of
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Day After Tomorrow is probably like
The post-apocalyptic
Gyllenhaal or
one.
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry. Kate Mercer is the character, and she is an FBI agent, part of some kidnapping unit, who gets in kind of way over her head where she tries to assault a location to where she thinks there's some kidnappees and kidnappers, and is in way over her head as she gets involved in kind of the cartel doings in Arizona on U.S. soil.
Yeah.
And this opening scene, you realize it really sets the tone for the remainder of the movie too, to where this violence isn't just in Mexico; it's also in the United States.
See how gruesome the cartel is.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that scene real quick. Or do you have more to? I guess you have more to.
All I was going to say is she gets kind of mixed up to where she gets involved with some other U.S. officials, to where she gets convinced that if she joins the rest of this party, that she's going to be able to do a lot more in her new position than she's able to in her current position now.
Right. That they basically say, if you really want to get to the people that are basically ahead of the snake, you need to come with us. Right. Unbeknownst to her, that they are essentially using her.
Yeah.
For this purpose, right?
It's kind of the twist
right.
towards the end there.
Right. So, good synopsis. Let's talk about that first scene. Because it does. It just comes right out of the gate.
Yeah.
You got the cops kind of like, or the SWAT team, the FBI, essentially going up towards the house. Obviously, firefighting ensues, which is important. It's very violent, very quick. That's the thing about his
She
movies.
almost gets taken out.
She almost gets taken out right at the beginning of the movie. But the violence is quick in these movies, right? We talked about Wind River. We talked about Hell or High Water. It's very real, very raw, very quick. It's not prolonged gunfights.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
And it's not like you're going in there like a commando and killing 15 people.
Right, there were like 2 or 3 people in the house.
She barely dodged a shotgun shot to her head.
Yep.
And just held the trigger down, essentially.
And she fell to the side and just...
luckily survived.
Yes. Right, absolutely. And not only that, but the thing you realize is that inside the walls, after the shotgun blast goes past her and hits the drywall in the bedroom, that there's bodies in the drywall. And then when they basically take all the drywall down, they realize there's bodies thrown out throughout the house.
I think even one of the ME guys said there's 10 in this hallway, 12 in this back room, and we haven't even checked the back rooms yet.
So let's do just a small little debate. What do we think this house is? They don't answer it.
Yeah, I don't understand the
stash
concept.
Because they called them hostages at the beginning, so I think they were just maybe... My guess, I mean, what I've heard on the border crossing is people that, they pay a coyote to come in, and if they don't have enough money to pay, they get put up for ransom towards their family.
Okay.
Maybe that came to my mind.
I just didn't understand the concept of what are they going to do with that house in the long term?
Oh, I don't think they care about that.
Because they also mentioned he's got a bunch of properties.
Right.
And foreclosure properties.
Yeah, laundering, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Obviously.
It's empty houses.
Yeah.
Now, I can't just imagine what the smell is like in that house.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
I
kidding.
mean, they all went outside and were just...
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be horrible. That scene, though, culminates with not just her survival, but outside there's a shed. And the shed basically has a padlock on it. They break the padlock. While she's basically trying to recover, the shed blows up as the cops enter the shed. And 2 cops die. And post this scene, you could make the argument maybe she already has some form of PTSD. Right? I mean, how could she not?
Yeah.
She barely survives. She
Yeah.
finds, what would we say, 20 plus dead bodies in the wall. And an explosion goes off that does, it doesn't concuss her, but she falls over. She's feeling the effects of it. Does kill 2 cops.
You see it in the next scene, I think, when she's
Right.
showering, she's just
Right, covered in blood.
shook. Yeah.
Yeah. She's already going through things.
Yeah.
I do have one criticism. I'm not very familiar with SWAT tactics, but I can't imagine you back your vehicle into a wall, like a residential wall, and we're like, "Yep, this is gonna bust down, and then we're all gonna break through the doors."
I don't know.
Like,
Did you
what
ever
if it
see?
doesn't?
Did you ever see the movie SWAT? They
You'd be
launched
surprised.
that pronged
the big
missile
crane
launcher
thing.
and then pull it right off the wall.
Yeah, I don't think that would work either. Just speaking from experience.
You didn't see you didn't see the movie.
I've seen videos on YouTube.
Nellie's neighbors.
Verified. Okay.
Yes, blue check mark. Post this scene, she then gets called into basically a meeting. And at this meeting, we are introduced to Josh Brolin's character. We don't really know who he is or what he is. But we know that he is somebody to take serious. They're taking him very serious, even though he is very much dressed down. Right?
Flip-flops.
Flip-flops. They convince her to join a task force, or basically give her the option. Would you like to volunteer for this task force? And in doing so, we can strike those that are responsible for this, because if we don't, this will happen at many other houses across this border. And they make that very clear, that this is the beginning. That how many other houses will get it booby-trapped with an explosive like this if you don't hit where it matters. So,
And that's how they trick her to join the task force too.
And but
They
they
very
tell her,
much like not coerce her or intimidate her,
she
but
volunteers.
Yeah, they had to make sure she
Yes.
like,
volunteered.
yeah, and kind of trick her into that a little bit. Maybe or maybe not. I mean, they're playing a lot of hypotheticals.
And that's funny because that leads to one of my quotes later on.
Well, let's think about, like, what does her mind frame got to be? We talked about she might be suffering from PTSD.
It was that same day, right? That she comes into the office.
I don't know. I don't know if it's the same day. I don't think they say that. It could be the next day though. At the latest, it's probably within 24 hours.
For
at the
sure,
latest.
yeah.
But I think most importantly, again, they get her to volunteer to go along with this ride. She still volunteers, not knowing who he is. She might speculate at this time. She probably questions a little bit.
It's funny that she doesn't have to announce that she has volunteered herself as an FBI agent, her duties or whatever, to anybody else. That's interesting in retrospect after watching this movie too.
Well, I thought what was really great too is at this point, Josh Brolin's character, played by Matt Graver.
No.
He
Matt Graver played by Josh
other way
Brolin.
around.
Oh, apologies. Matt Graver played by Josh Brolin. Sorry.
Thanos. if you will.
Cable.
Or Cable.
Right. At this point, he doesn't want her partner either. He just wants her. He just wants one person. And her partner, played by Daniel Kaluuya from Widows, from Get Out, from Black Panther. Kind of lesser known at this part in time in his career. Gone on to have a very successful career so far. He plays her partner. And he kind of sprinkled out periodically through this movie. So we get this. That basically she joins this task force. And they're going to go disrupt things, or what's he say? I think maybe it's not this one. Maybe it's the second one where he says, we're going to severely overreact.
It's this one, and we'll get to that later.
Okay. So, next category then. So that's kind of where we're at for just kind of a little bit of an opening here. How about casting changes? Are there anybody else that you would cast in this movie? And let's go through some of the cast. So, the director is Denis Villeneuve. This guy has directed Arrival, Sicario, Dune, that's coming out, and Blade Runner 2049. It is written by Taylor Sheridan, which we've done through his filmography. It is produced by a guy named Basil Iwanek. Sorry, I'm probably mispronouncing his last name. This guy has produced the movie Basic. Sam Jackson, John Travolta, really like that movie. The John Wick trilogy, the Expendables trilogy, and both Sicario movies.
Good run.
Yeah.
Awesome run. I mean, he's basically produced some of the best action flicks of all time.
Basil just screams success.
Very much so. It is starring Emily Blunt as Kate Mercer,
I like her.
Josh Brolin as Matt Graver,
I like him better.
Benicio del Toro as Alejandro Gillick,
The best.
John Bernthal, yes, as Ted.
Quickie scene.
What a fitting name.
Yep, Jeffrey Donovan as Steve Forsing, and we talked about Daniel Kaluuya as Reggie Wayne.
Or Kahlua, as I like to call him.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'm
It's
pronouncing
way
that
easier
correct.
to just say Kahlua.
So let's talk about the cast. What are you guys' thoughts on the cast?
Thought there was all good cast. My casting change would be, you guys familiar with The Killing,
Yep.
the show? Mariela Enos, I probably botched that name. Take place of Kate.
She's a redhead?
Oh, you think
Yeah,
so?
just because they play similar, I guess. Just she plays a pretty badass detective cop in The Killing, and I don't know. That's just what came to mind. Plus, I never had any casting changes in the other movies, so I figured throw this one in there.
Josh Brolin in his role.
Okay.
As nonchalant as he played like a CIA agent where he's not serious at all, but he knows everything and won't let anything kind of play off of his chest or anything like that. I really enjoyed him. Although I think Emily Blunt, I'll disagree with you here, Nelly. I think Emily Blunt really carries the movie from the
Oh, she
emotional
did
standpoint.
good. No, yeah,
she's,
for sure.
I mean, she's the most important
Yeah.
character. Not my hot take, because this movie's been obviously talked about a lot. She is considered to be a stand-in for the audience, and so her vulnerability, her indecisiveness, that's supposed to be us. Her shocked at what's going on
Innocence,
here.
altruistic values.
Yeah.
That's my values too. They're altruistic as well.
She reminded
I'll
me
just,
also
put
from
that out
Wind
there.
River.
Yep.
I forgot her name.
Elizabeth Olsen.
Yep.
Not only that, though, so a lot of criticism for Sicario Day of the Soldado is that she's not in that film. And that
Don't ruin number 2 because I want to watch that.
that's
sometime.
okay. And that's lacking because she does not reprise her role. Hoping she reprises if they do Sicario 3, which is in the works.
Wink, wink.
So
I saw a headline on that, but I didn't see any dates or anything, and it was posted right after number 2. So I don't
how
know if
about
that's really
let
true
me
or
ask
not.
you this guy. So this guy, there's a guy in here that's named Jeffrey Donovan. He plays Steve Forsing.
I loved him.
He's great.
He did.
If you don't know who we're talking about, he stars in Burn Notice as Michael Weston, so main character.
You'll know him in this movie for his mustache.
Yes, yes. In a great introduction where he basically says he burns when he pees.
Oh yeah. Yep.
As he's introduced to basically Kate Mercer or Emily Blunt. I think
He says there's red in my pee.
yeah. I think specks of red. I think he's the most underrated performer in the movie. I think he brings a lot of like levity to a very serious situation, because you don't really get a lot of.
He's that comical guy from the squad.
Kinda. I mean, Benicio del Toro is very much present because of it. He's just like a force because he's so quiet, but
Yeah.
he just comes off as kind of menacing.
Yeah.
Obviously, Brolin is Brolin. He's the guy in charge. Kate is kind of quiet, reserved, trying to take it in as
By the book.
Brolin would tell her, be a sponge, soak it up. So you have Donovan is the one that's basically talking as they're going over the border and kind of communicating to the audience. Like, this is normal. Like, look at the bodies. Look at the, listen to the gunfire. He's a very underrated person. He does reprise his role in the second movie, and he actually probably has a bigger role in the second movie. So really good. So Nate, if you do watch it, you'll enjoy that.
Yeah, I can't
Good.
wait to rewatch it.
How about Del Toro? Because Benicio del Toro might be, even though I think Emily Blunt's the most important person of the film, the most impactful person of the film is Benicio del Toro.
I'm a huge fan. Ever since you recommended The Hunted to me
Yes.
back in the day. Oh,
Yeah, really good.
I really enjoyed his performance in this because it conveys a lot of different things. When you find out what his background is, number one, and then he also plays this kind of dichotomy where he's very like careful and caring to some degree, but that also is played out versus he has a job to do and he won't let anything else in his way in order to accomplish that. And that's very evident towards the end of this movie.
Which you learn that he's got a personal goal as well.
Right.
And it,
Yeah, so his story is he's a former prosecutor that the cartel orders the killing of his wife and daughter in a very gruesome, heinous way. And he, in turn, leaves prosecuting criminals and becomes a hitman for hire.
That's one problem I have is like...
I do too.
You're going to get to... All
yeah,
right,
I do
all right,
too.
Good.
I don't think that ages well. I have a problem. I don't have a problem with Del Toro because he does do a really good job. But what if just a slight casting change? And I know it's a big curveball to talk about recasting Del Toro in this movie. What about Antonio Banderas?
no.
No, you're both. Nelly, you gave me this look like I'm crazy.
Too skinny.
Too skinny?
Doesn't have the menacing eyes,
Yeah.
I don't think. Or the voice. The imposing figure.
I just think of Desperado when I...
Yeah, and he was awesome
he
in
was a
that
badass,
movie.
but just Del Toro, the way he played, I'm just comparing him to The Hunt. He just plays that low-key, menacing look guy, just wants the revenge, just evil
Okay.
look.
Okay. So nobody wants to take Antonio Banderas. How about Josh Brolin? Anybody want to recast him?
Who you selling?
I
Anybody
think he
mind?
did awesome. I think he did good, but yeah, who would you?
He's kind of a playboy.
Yeah.
But again, he has that same objective. He knows a lot of things, but he's not willing to divulge any information, really.
Yeah, no, I think he's pretty solid. One I would maybe think about is her partner, Daniel Kaluuya. Maybe go with an older partner. just kind of maybe instead of somebody that is trying to climb the ladder with her, maybe somebody that's a little bit more tenured, older, basically telling her like, be careful what you're getting into.
Yep.
As somebody that's a mentor, opposed to being someone that's her equal.
I really liked a different character standpoint that he was actually a lawyer, and they kind of disregarding. Like, no, I don't think we want him. You know, Brolin's like, nah, we'll just take her.
Yeah, he'll ask too many questions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he knows the law, and
Yeah.
he's like, nah, we just want to get things done.
Yeah.
How about won't like the loopholes that we're about to use?
How about Ted? Anybody you would change for Ted? John Bernthal?
Walter Goggins?
Walton Goggins.
Walton, sorry.
No, he can't play a rapist.
He plays
No,
a
he's
really
not a
good.
rapist. He's trying
He
to,
was be a
That's
hitman
true.
and try to silence her.
yeah, or get information out
He
of
just
her.
always plays a good asshole, bad guy.
He does. He does. And it's funny because you guys mentioned that he's barely in this movie as well. And there's a movie that he's in last year called Widows. And so based on like time on screen,
Spoiler alert.
he's in Widows for like 30 seconds. So this guy's let me ask you this. Let's have the debate on this guy because we're not going to really talk about him much often. Is he a big name actor? He's got started kind of in The Walking Dead.
That's
He
where
was
I
in
saw
The
him.
Punisher.
I liked him from Walking Dead. Yeah.
He's in a couple movies sprinkled in here or there.
I imagine he's gonna be just typecast
Think so?
into like a hothead type individual.
Okay. I mean, he comes
Tough
off
guy,
he's-
hothead
Yeah,
individual.
he comes off as definitely being a hothead, very tough, short-tempered, not a lot of words.
I think there's some excellent roles for him, like the Punisher in the Netflix series.
I follow him on
especially-
Instagram. He looks like a chill guy.
You guys are one-way friends on Instagram.
I follow him. He doesn't follow me.
Yeah, he won't message you back.
Retweet.
Yeah. All right, so not many different casting changes. How about best scene?
We talked about this before.
Yeah.
We all have the same
agree.
scene, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I want to encompass that scene as just leaving the prison, going back to the U.S. border, okay? Like across the border. So that's one scene. Now, the entire story arc of that 20-minute opening where they go from the United States to get the prisoner, which is the cartel's leader's brother, back over the border. Again, awesome. Just great anxiety. I want to narrow that scene, though, just from the prison back to the border. Right? Can we all get on board with that? It's the best scene?
What's the guy from Burn Notice? What's his name?
Jennifer, in the movie, it's Steve Forseen.
Yeah. So when they meet him, he's like, "I got a great group of guys for you," which I can only assume are essentially not mercenaries, but like
I
a
think they're Delta.
Blackwater type.
The Delta Force.
Delta.
Yeah.
Delta
Yeah.
Force, right?
So this
Off
is
the books stuff. He's like,
it's
they just got done doing a tour.
technically probably not supposed to be operational within the United States. Hence why they have the FBI agent there, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
Do you have U.S. Marshals there? Because they have to have the prisoner transferred with U.S. Marshals. So the two older cowboys are there.
Oh, yeah,
The,
yep.
the Texans.
What a weird conglomeration of like individuals and
Yeah.
bureaus and everything, and the political like
Yeah.
red tape that needs to go along with that too. That's crazy.
Yeah. How about outside of that scene? We'll talk about that scene in a second, though. Let's do is there any runner-up to you guys that would match that scene or get close? Opening scene.
I do really enjoy the opening scene because I can't
Yeah.
remember, even in a horror flick, where you've seen people just like in between the studs, just bodies in between every single set of studs.
Okay.
That scary stuff. And to know that it's not like a sci-fi film or a horror film, it's just a modern day
Just brutal.
brutal incident. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like. So there's a secondary storyline in here somewhere about this cop. This cop on the other side of basically Juarez, and they're kind of following
Silvio?
him. What's that?
Silvio.
That's right, Silvio. And they're following him, and he's a cop on the take, and he mules drugs for the cartel. When he gets caught up in it, and Del Toro basically forces him to drive him to the cartel, I thought that's a good scene. It's basically him,
When he
Silvio,
infiltrates the compound?
and they intercept the U.S. leader of the cartel.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what his name. Diaz. Is that his name, Diaz?
Yeah, I have it somewhere, but yeah, Diaz, Manuel Diaz.
Yeah, so when they intercept Diaz and he's telling him what to say to get Diaz to get out of the car.
Yeah.
I liked that scene because Silvio is a guy that you're not rooting against. They do a good job of building him up because you see him with his son, you see him with his wife.
He's just doing what he needs to do.
He's doing what he needs to do. He's doing maybe what he's forced to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the strength of the cartel shows you that you probably can't tell these people no.
Have no choice.
Right. And not only that, but make some money. He's not living in an amazing place.
Slums, pretty
Right.
much. Yeah.
He's got kids. We don't know if his wife works. You don't know anything about that. So you just know that he's a cop. And they do a good job of, like I said, building him up to maybe think that you can sympathize with his story. But the time that he gets intercepted by Benicio del Toro and they intercept Diaz and he's telling him what to say, they get out of the car and he executes him and then kneecaps Diaz. I just thought that was it's not a good scene in the sense it's like good or bad. But it's a powerful scene.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it also shows you that, just like Nate said at the beginning, there's no good or bad people in this. They're just actors. I don't mean actors as far as acting in the movie, but actors as far as this force between this war on the border. The U.S. response to cartel violence.
That collateral damage.
Right. And so Silvio, but again, to us or to the U.S. government, Silvio would be executed. He is running drugs.
Yeah.
He is causing harm to probably Mexican citizens as well as U.S. citizens. And we can't say that we don't know that he's not more corrupt. We just see him not commit violence. We don't know if he doesn't commit violence.
Yeah, to say that he's innocent is not a true statement.
No, it's
all
it's
you
a
do
stretch.
is see the whole movie is he's got a family, he's got a son that likes to play soccer, and he's got a wife that cooks him breakfast, and you don't really know much about him other than maybe he works nights and he's a federal, a state police.
Right.
State police.
Right.
And that's all you know up until the point
Right.
where you see him smuggling drugs.
Right. And again, he not an innocent bystander, but he ultimately is getting crossfired here between Del Toro wanting his revenge, and he is basically a gatekeeper to get to Diaz.
Yeah. If you're not a part of the solution, you're a part of the problem. Maybe is a good fitting way to take that scene.
Sure.
And Benicio del Toro is black and white.
Yep. Other scene in this. Do you guys have any other scenes? Because I got one more. It's not as good, but it's just a powerful scene.
Nope.
It's the final scene with.
I mean, yeah,
but
I had
not
that
the
from
not the final scene, but it's the final scene with Benicio del Toro.
where he infiltrates.
And he's in her apartment. She's on the balcony, and he tells her she should probably not stand out on the balcony for a while. She comes inside. He's talking to her very nice. You can see that he has a glove on, and you can see that he's holding what you'll find out is her pistol. And he tells her that he needs her to sign this document that would say that everything that they've done up to that point was legit and above board. So it would be essentially legal. She refuses to do that because of her conflict with Josh Brolin's character and all the things that she saw them do. I mean, let's be fair. Del Toro shoots her in the vest, but does shoot her early in the movie, right?
What a cool scene, too.
Yeah.
Right. And
Just to play up that he is there for a means to an end.
Right.
But he's trying to do the right thing and wound her.
Yeah.
Not kill her.
shoots her in the vest. He knows that she's wearing a vest. And he puts the gun to her and says, "You need to sign this or I'm going to shoot you." And she starts crying because she doesn't want to do it. But think about also, let's say she doesn't sign it. Because she signs it. Spoiler alert, she signs it. He walks away. And
He
points
puts the gun to
her gun under her chin to
And
make it
says
look
that
like it will be a
Yep,
suicide.
yep.
And she started smoking again. She's been drinking. She looks haggard. She's beat up. She's, again, PTSD. Essentially, had she not signed this, they probably do make it look like a suicide. And then they sign it anyways.
Yeah,
sure.
that's my take, too.
And he tells her that she's not a wolf. And that she needs this, that this is basically a wolf's town now. And it's just wolves or people dressed as sheep.
He likes that wolf analogy.
Right. And I thought that was such a good scene for Emily Blunt, because then she obviously thinks that once he takes apart her gun, she reassembles it. You can hear her reassembling it as he's walking outside, and she walks to the balcony and points it, and he just turns around and looks at her and basically squares up and, shoot me.
You're gonna do it or
And
not.
she doesn't do it, and he just walks away. And that's where you end up with those guys. But really good scene. Powerful. Also tells you that Benicio del Toro would do whatever he needs to do.
And does it tell you something about Emily Blunt to maybe understand that, like, she understands that maybe there's a necessary evil involved in order to take down, like, cartels for that reason?
I think that she's a true believer in her mission and her law. I don't think...
You think that she would be breaking the law and that overruled her taking someone down who would also break the law?
Yeah, I think that she's above that. I think she abides by U.S. law, whereas these guys are obviously working in between the lines here.
I like to think that she doesn't have the heart to do what they do.
No, she doesn't.
She allows him to live and do what he does.
Could be. That he's a necessary evil.
And I think that's kind of the common theme throughout this whole movie is that how do you solve such an evil, horrible problem? And Josh Brolin has, I think it's Josh Brolin that has a quote in there about, well, once you get the 20 million Americans to stop doing all the drugs, then we'll solve the issue.
Right.
But we're also the same individual that are perpetuating that same problem that we're trying to solve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting thing to think about.
Yeah. How about best quote?
I had a few.
Go ahead.
Well, first one, when they're in the interrogation room at the beginning, they kind of
Yeah.
go with each other.
Yeah.
And Matt says it to
Whoever the...
who's in there with him.
Yeah.
I love it when they no hablo inglés. And in that same scene, when he comes in with Alejandro, Benicio comes in, and the prisoner looks scared, and he's looking at Matt, and then he says, "What do you keep looking at me for? No hablo inglés, remember?"
Yeah.
And then Benicio was in there to do some tactical baptism with that water, that gallon of water.
Yeah. I think what they call it, Yankee Hell. I think is what they labeled it. They labeled the waterboarding.
When he
as,
steps all in front of him and just shows the
stands
dominance
there.
and
Yep. What else you got?
Uh,
How about Nate? What do you got?
I'll take one. My most cringeworthy quote is from the balding dude after they're exiting the tunnel right at the end of the movie. He hits up Kaluba, as I'll call him.
Okay.
And he knocks him down because he's trying to defend Emily Blunt, who Josh Brolin just took by the throat. And he says, "Just lay back, baby, let it happen." And I was like, I don't think that's very appropriate for this particular scene.
let him know.
But you also understand, like, the Delta Force guys are there, like, especially before they go into the tunnel. He's like, what does he say? Safety's off. Point your gun down. Don't kill any of my own guys.
Yeah,
or
don't shoot
something.
any of my guys in the back.
Don't shoot any of my own guys in the back.
Like they did not want them there at all.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You got another one down?
That was my worst quote.
Oh, just back when they were talking about how we find out that they're CIA and the only way they can operate there is with a domestic agency.
Yes.
When he says that, I asked them, why are we going regarding to the tunnel mission towards the end? And then he says CIA can't operate within U.S. borders without a domestic agency attached. I thought that was pretty cool because, CIA, the spooks are just...
Yeah.
That's the big twist, because you never know who Josh Brolin is the whole movie.
Yep.
Right.
Or why she's really involved.
I've got three of them, and they all belong to Del Toro.
Hit
First one is when Emily Blunt meets him, and they start talking. They're on the plane, and he goes, "You're asking me how a watch works. For now, we'll just keep an eye on the time, right? Like don't ask questions. Essentially, just pay attention." I like it when he goes, "Nothing will make sense to your American ears, and you will doubt everything that we do, but in the end, you will understand." And his final one to her was, "You should move to a small town, somewhere where the rule of law still exists. You will not survive here. You are not a wolf, and this is the land of wolves now."
Those are all great quotes. I had that as one of mine too. My honorable mentions. The watch is great. One of my favorites was when Kate's in the interview room at the very beginning, and she asks, "What's our mission?" And Matt, the CIA spook, Josh Brolin, says, "To dramatically overreact."
Yeah.
Which is like the most indirect answer of, we're going to go kill who we have to go bring this guy back to climb the ladder over the cartels. That's so cool.
You got any more?
Yeah, just one more. When speaking about Alejandro, when he shoots Kate in the tunnel, goes
Yeah.
up to her and says,
He hip fires it.
yeah, double tap, pop, pop. He says, don't ever point a weapon at me again. Catch your breath and get back in the fight.
Yeah.
Just walks
Yes.
away. And she's like, oh.
Yeah, something Nelly would say. That's something Nelly would say while playing Xbox online. How about this? Let's talk about Joe and I added this category for The Watchmen that you guys probably wouldn't know because you didn't watch it.
I'm letting the episode
Well, I can't
stack
watch
up.
its podcast, but
Or
I haven't
listen
listened
to
it
it.
yet either.
Oh, that one's a video. It's a video podcast.
video?
Yeah, you can watch this.
Oh man,
Record.
I'm gonna Google for days for that one.
Yeah,
I need them to stack so I can binge.
got it. Heroes who crossed the line. So, who crossed the line in this movie? I got a couple options for you.
Alejandro.
Okay.
All of the above.
Okay.
I'll take D. All of the above.
Let me ask you this, and you tell me at what point did we cross the line? Let's do Del Toro shooting Silvio. No.
No.
How about Del Toro putting the gun to Emily Blunt?
No.
Del Toro executing the wife and the 2 kids of the cartel leader before he shoots him.
Yeah. That's where I draw the
Now,
line.
you don't get to see that part, which is good. Like he fires the gun 3 times. You know
see
the
the
3 bodies
bodies.
fall,
The camera pans
But
down.
you-
It doesn't
body.
pan. It just sits on.
but you don't see the actual
on
execution.
the drug lord, but then
Yeah.
you see
Yeah.
the bodies on the ground.
What do you guys think of Del Toro after that?
I mean, I feel bad, but I did put him as who won the movie. But that scene,
Okay.
pretty gruesome, and that's the reason I gave him the movie, just because he gets right to it. He's doing what he's got to do. I wouldn't do it, but
Yeah.
I just like how he's low key, silent, and just
Yeah.
eerie. But
Man, he's got so many inner demons
Yeah.
after what's happened to him. And then I think after he kills his children and wife, he goes, "Finish your meal."
Yeah. Yeah.
And he doesn't move. He's just frozen still.
Yeah. Well, I think up to that point too, when I was rewatching this, there's a part where I feel like the cartel leader thinks he's going to get out of this.
yeah, he's got a smug look. And he's
Yes,
just
he thinks he's
talking
going to
back him
survive
like he's not
this.
going to do anything. And
Right. Yeah, and he says it's not personal,
You
just
took everything
business.
from him. What makes you think he's not going to?
I don't think you can tell somebody whose family that, and it's gruesome how he talks about it. He says that they beheaded his wife, and they put his little girl in a vat of acid. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't think you can tell somebody, sorry, it's not personal, it's just business, and think that you're going to survive that.
Yeah, not have any repercussions.
Although, burn notice, dude.
Donovan.
Jeffrey
Yep.
Donovan.
Yep.
He makes mention of quite a few times when they're on that run about how intelligent it is to do that sort of thing. About when you see you
yeah.
drive by and you see the cadavers that are hanging. He
Yep.
says, it makes you think
That
that,
they
the
deserved
people
it.
that they did it deserved it and they knew something.
Right.
And just to set the tone of you might be one of these people in the
Yeah.
future if you don't tell the cartel what you know.
Or if you do tell in the cartel that this will also be your
Yeah,
fate.
exactly.
Yeah.
Just gruesome.
Anybody else cross the line, you think?
What about our favorite scene? Did
Well,
we talk much about
I was
that?
going to come back to that one at the end.
Okay,
Because I
alright.
want to come back to that. Because that's probably coming up in probably the most cowboyish scene, I would assume. How about any gift, advice, or item you would give to somebody?
Don't point a weapon at Alejandro.
Good advice.
Fair enough. Don't follow Alejandro. Don't go into a bank.
Yeah,
Oh,
don't
yeah,
go into the
that
bank
one.
was very important.
I
Which
missed that the
I
first time I
love
watched it, but
that Matt or Josh Brolin's character goes, he kind of reaches out. He goes, "Oh, don't go into the bank." Like, okay.
because then
Yeah.
you realize
She's gone, and he
And-
goes, "Don't go in the bank."
And he instantly uses her. Like,
yeah, that was clever.
that's
Well,
how I
and it's
imagine a CIA agent would work.
It's a
too.
great callback too to the little rubber bands or the
Yeah.
rubber band that they have that they put the cash over. That
That's
He's
clever.
got in his pocket to show he's basically on the take.
When they're at her house,
Yeah,
on the table, right?
yeah, yeah, and kind of a intense scene where he's choking her.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, "You're making me do this. This is your fault." You know, and Del Toro shows up and just puts a gun to his head, and then beats the crap out of him while they're interrogating him. Or you don't see that; it's off camera.
So there's something funny that I came across too. The Wet Willy
Yep.
scene.
Yeah.
That was improv.
Sure.
That I don't know. There were some interviews after the fact that Emily Blunt kind of laughed at that. Benicio del Toro would actually go around and do this to people randomly,
Okay.
It's funny.
and they
kept it in the movie.
Well, yeah, they
He
kept it in the
probably
movie.
yells, "Come on, man!" Like he's probably really angry. I just think of the part where he grabs him by like the eyebrow,
Oh, yeah, like
and just
the-
like twists it. And I was like, I actually like tried to do that to myself after I watched it. I'm like, that would really hurt. Grab
Really?
your eyebrow and just like twist a little bit.
I have contacts. It's gonna mess up my contacts. Later, I'll do it later.
Have your wife do it too.
That's funny too when they're in the scene too in the cop car. He's like, "You're already beat up. They won't notice another few scratches." or hits."
Yes. I would also give advice to Emily Blunt. That they said soak it up. Just
Is that a Freudian slip?
Emily Butt. Just go with it. Just
Go with the flow.
accept it.
Sorry.
This is some career advancement for you. You really want to make a difference because if you're not, the way we have laws established, you're not going to make a difference. So I would give her advice to go with the flow. Let's move to most cowboyish scene. And for this, I don't want to go anywhere else. Let's just talk about our favorite scene with this because these are guys coming back across the border. They have acknowledged that if a cartel reaction or hit is coming, it's going to come on the backside of the return trip. And they get stuck at the border in traffic. And they're kind of just looking around, and you see them start spotting cars of 4 heavily tatted Mexican guys coming across the border.
With assault rifles just like poking
Yeah.
up through the window.
Yeah, he'll just say,
Are we
you know,
doing best
4
scene right now?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
we're going back to best scene for most cowboyish scene, unless you have a different one.
I do have a different one.
Okay, so we'll come back to that. So let's just do best scene
That's
here.
fine. That's fine.
So, what I really liked about this is Jeffrey Donovan, I think, is great in this scene. This is his best scene. And you see him as he is leading, and he says, "Put your windows down." And he's holding his gun up, but he's looking sideways. He's holding it with one hand, and he's just monitoring. And he's wait for them to get out of the car. Mirror what they do.
Head on a swivel.
Yeah, the ROE, the rules of engagement.
Yes. Yep. And they find 2 cars full of people. And as soon as one guy opens the door, the entire car is empty of the Delta Force people.
Let me take a step back
Go
too,
ahead.
because they requested, can I request to step out and make a perimeter? And they say no.
Yes.
You will react as they react.
Yes.
So you have to sit there like sitting duck.
And
That's
as soon
tough
as
until
soon as
they do
one
it.
guy gets out with, a handgun maybe, and he looks like he's going to do something, 4 Delta Force guys come out of nowhere, swarm him, and they just get the drop on these guys. And they don't execute him. But as soon as he raises his gun, they just double tap everybody
Instant.
and just drop
Well,
them
that
off.
first car, and then the second car, they go and try to give them a
Yes.
chance. And
Yep.
You see what they happened to these guys? And
Yep.
They didn't care and took
Yep.
them out.
And Jeffrey Donovan's character, he goes, don't do it. And he
Yeah.
starts to back away,
Yep.
and then he starts to raise it again.
Yeah. I mean, they had,
Double tap.
double taps everybody. He hits
Everybody,
everybody.
too.
Yeah,
He does
and
awesome
And then obviously they say
this movie.
beware of state police. And at that point, a state police officer tries to take a shot at Emily Blunt, who survives
Dodges another bullet.
and shoots him in the head. And she's angry then because of that, And by that time they've cleared it and they're able to get across the border. But it's very intense, very much anxiety during that part, and very quick and violent.
I think that's very underplayed too, because now she's intimately involved
Yes.
as to killing
A cop?
more or less an innocent.
Because she got upset, and she said, "What are we doing?"
Yes.
Because it's.
Do you think? Let me ask you this: do you think she'd shoot Silvio?
Probably
No,
not.
never.
No, she would take him in.
Okay. Maybe. Yeah, you'd probably be right.
She'd never make
Just
it
'cause
to the
she's-
drug cartel's place,
Yeah.
estate.
Right.
But if she
wouldn't know
were
how
to get
there.
a hold of him, she would do it by the book and try to take him in. That's my guess.
Not as good of a movie, huh?
No.
Okay. How about most cowboyish scene then, Nelly? What do you got?
Mine was at the end when he infiltrates the compound. Or well, he pulls up in the car first
Yeah.
with the other drug
Diaz.
Diaz. Yep.
Yep.
And he's slit his throat and he can't say anything. And then the 3 guards come up and then he just not a double tap, a triple tap this time. Headshot, pop, pop, pop.
Yeah.
And then goes inside and then looking like Sam Fisher,
Yeah.
Splinter Cell.
Yeah. Really good.
And that was another thing that didn't age well for me. If I bring that up, or was it only 4 guards in that whole compound it showed? I figured there'd be more than 4 guards.
It's nighttime.
Yeah, what do they say? Like I don't know, 9 individuals, and he kills the 3. 1, 2, 3. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
And then the guy in the hallway or inside
Yeah.
the house, and then that's all I remember.
Let's the maid live.
server, and then there's the 4 his family.
Let's the maid live.
Yeah.
But I mean guards. I'm saying like
Yeah.
security. There was only the 4 there.
So you're saying that
Good
doesn't age well as the lack of guards?
Yeah, just
Okay.
I mean for being
It's night shift.
I guess.
Sure.
He's probably thinking he's the cartel leader. Who's going to mess with him? He's got so many state police on the take. They're not going to raid him without him getting a prior heads up, probably.
True.
How about, do you have a better scene for Cowboy scene?
No, it's got to be that that scene back into America.
Yeah, I agree.
And what's very interesting, I love those helicopter shots
Yes.
of showing the traffic.
Yes.
And how it's completely and 100% one way.
Yes.
Into America. And virtually no checks and balances going into Mexico.
Into Juarez, yeah. How about what doesn't age well? So you obviously said the amount of guards. Nate and I, we had one earlier. So Nate, go ahead and bring yours up now.
What was my... Remind me, what was my...
Del Toro being a prosecutor.
Yeah, so it wasn't so much that it doesn't age well, but if your expertise is being a lawyer or a prosecutor, how are you so efficient at being a hitman?
I agree with that.
Are you trained? Are you formerly in the army or?
Well,
like,
and they don't do enough of that backstory, and I don't even really know if they do enough of that backstory in the second one.
how is he?
I
How is
will
he such
give-
an awesome
Here's the
killer?
thing. I will give you the benefit of the doubt as a prosecutor of prosecuting cartels that he probably knows all their inner workings and knows their locations. As far as actually setting out to execute these people and doing it with such precision and violence, I don't understand how he's anything more than just a father whose family got butchered.
Right.
And
I understand the death wish concept, but how does he know all the tactics?
Josh
and
Brolin makes a
equipment
comment
involved?
that he's part of the Colombian cartel, doesn't he?
The
That he was basically
Medellin.
hired by the cartel, and the
Yeah.
goal was to unify, basically wipe out other cartels to have one cartel that could be controlled again.
So I did a little bit of research on this, and if it's true, awesome. If it's not, take it with a grain of salt. But the Medellin has to do with Pablo Escobar when he was the
Yes.
main man, and it was his cartel.
Right.
And it has to do with the same city, Medellin. But it was a single cartel that they were trying to control at that point until the late 1980s when Pablo Escobar was killed and this cartel was getting conflicted with other cartels, and it was much, much harder to control because you have all these different ideas and all these different ambitions. So the idea was, or in this particular movie, is to wipe out all these other heads of the Hydra to contain it to one single head.
Right. And I think that's, they don't, again, explain it, but I would give the benefit of the doubt to Del Toro's character that he was post, obviously, grieving of his family, that he goes to Colombia, he gets trained probably by the CIA, probably by the Medellin cartel, tactics. Again, he knows his location, he's prosecuted these people, and he's just hell-bent on revenge. And he has nothing to lose, so he's able to take other risks that other people don't take. And not to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I do agree with you that him going from a prosecutor to being a, Sicario, which is hitman, overnight, it seems like, is a little bit of a far fetch.
And kind of going back to what you were saying, Nate, where how back in the day, Medellin were the only ones. I think he mentions it, the drug lord at the end scene, where he says to Alejandro, he's like, "We learned it from you,
Right.
you guys, how being ruthless or whatever."
Right.
The Mexican cartel, which is true.
Yeah.
They just picked up all their skills off them and their ruthlessness.
All the moral ambiguities that go with, like, we provide them with the money to support what they do, too, to then go in there and try to, like, slap them on the wrist, but say, hey, we're going to pay you also. It's such a weird dynamic situation.
And then-
It's so complicated.
Well, there's an odd thing here, because if we're saying that they're going to basically try to force one cartel, we're not saying they're going to stop the flow of drugs. We're just saying they're going to stop the violence on the other side of the border. That we're going to not have stash houses tricked out with bombs and traps on the U.S. side, but we're going to still flood the U.S. market with cocaine.
And another thing that Matt says he explains that they're attempting to return time to where it was just a single cartel, the Medellin, that ran the drug trade because this monopoly gave the U.S. more control. So
Right.
That's what they're trying to do.
Right.
It's interesting. Like, it brings to light two different things. One, the U.S. can't control drug traffic.
No.
Right.
You can't control drug traffic if drugs are getting in
But-
prisons.
Yeah.
Right, but it's also the
Winning that
lesser
war
of
on drugs.
all other evils, right? It's you can contain into one entity.
I think it's to contain the violence to innocent people. So
I agree 100%.
yeah, if you're going to allow the people that are going to do drugs, you're going to be people that are going to do drugs. And so if you just take that as a net loss and say, well, those people will do the drugs and get them, that's fine. Well, we can lose those people or whatever, right? But what we can't have is innocent people that are getting caught up in between this, or people being trafficked over the border, being murdered and stuff like that. And so, Medellin cartel can still run the drugs, but you'll keep the violence south of the U.S. border. And essentially that's what I take it as, is keep your violence south. We'll let you run it. As soon as you step overboard, we're going to overreact again.
That's a horrible sense of worldwide.
Yeah, but that
view,
also kind of
too.
maps some actual U.S. policy, like Fast and the Furious, that was started in 2007 under the Bush administration that ran into the Obama administration about gun running and how they were letting cartels basically come across the U.S. border, buy guns and send them back to Mexico, and we were trying to track the guns, and the guns ended up using actually killing U.S. border agents. We sold the cartel essentially weapons or to track them. It was 2,000 weapons. We'd go to the southern border.
Yeah.
Good
luck tracking
that's if we actually talk about U.S. policy out loud, and again, it's not to turn it to a politics podcast, but it's not that far fetched from stuff we've actually
it's
done
not.
before.
Yeah.
No, I think that's what this movie really brings to light is you try to bring the best level of just the quality of life to the United citizens, but at what cost do you do it to other nationalities too?
Well,
At the cost of our
so
experiences of buying
there was
drugs
some
and
right. There were some criticisms, right? I don't know if it's a mayor. The leader of is it Mayor of Juarez maybe came out and said this is not
yeah.
we're not as violent as this movie's depicting.
Oh,
He
I
told
got a
people to
quote on this,
boycott
too.
the movie.
Yeah.
So
So-
citizens.
The officials in Ciudad Juarez, that's the city of Juarez in Espanol, were upset about the scenes.
Hold on, wait. Nelly being Hispanic and speaking Spanish.
No, let me take this one.
Yeah,
Go
let-
ahead.
let-
Go
let-
ahead, Nate.
Let Nate have this one.
I'm
can
on
have
it.
it.
I'm on it.
I want to rain on his parade.
The city of Juarez was upset about the scenes with the hanging cadavers and the bullets and the explosions at nighttime.
Sure.
Stating that crime has since gone down since the city was the murder capital of the world. That's like saying, hey, we set the bar and then we came a little bit lower than that, so
Right.
we should be patted on the back.
Right. It definitely got some criticism.
Yeah, that's not that's like a horrible statistic to
Yeah.
say we were the best, now we're under that.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Nelly? You got something else to add?
No, he got it.
That was the criticism. Yeah.
I've got more murder statistics on Juarez actually.
Yeah.
We don't need to bash Juarez right now.
No, but to
Just
put it
how
in
insane that-
perspective,
yeah,
Go
to
ahead.
understand
Put it-
like
put
the
it- go
El
ahead.
Paso / Juarez.
Put it in perspective
border
for
stuff.
us.
A lot of bodies.
So, U.S. Day Today, in February of this year. Okay, so to put this into perspective, 2010, which is when this movie was actually based on,
Yes.
kind of the height of the violence, right?
Yeah.
230 murders per 100,000 people. That's higher than Baghdad.
Yeah, I
where a
got
war was going on. at the time.
3,115 in 2010.
Hold on.
Say that again?
3,115 in 2010
Yeah,
murders.
that's higher than what I had in 2010 for total.
Well, you had
murders in the
200.
city.
Hold on, you said 231 per 100,000 though.
Yeah, but I also had just less than what Nelly had as far as in 2010, 3,100 murders in 1 year
In the city of Juarez.
in the city of Juarez alone, which is a population of like 1.3 million people.
So you're talking about what? 59? No.
I think it was
0.059 or probably
it 50 something a month or no? No.
0.59% of the population.
You're talking
is
about almost
murdered.
8.5 people murdered a day. That's a lot.
It's intense.
That's unbelievable.
It's like a weekend in Chicago.
In the same article, so right.
Hold on.
Thanks,
It's
Obama.
no, your wife's not going to listen to this podcast now.
Well, she won't hear it.
So, this article in 2019, February of this year, also produced a statistic for 2018, where the police recorded. Again, this is I'm assuming state police, which in the movie are recorded as not the most upfront, but they recorded 1,259 murders in the year so far in 2018.
Okay.
Right?
So that's
Height of a hunt. So put this in perspective. In August, the height of the murder spree, there were 182 murders.
now are these is this gang on gang violence, like cartel on cartel, or is this like innocent bystanders?
I think
Because
it's a mix of
I don't-
all of
Because
it.
think
They
about
don't
this though.
define one to the other.
But recently though, they got Juan Guzman in the Sinaloa cartel, and they extradited him to the United States and put him on trial.
That
And
power vacuum.
right, and now all of a sudden,
Even that
violence.
scene on the rooftop, remember,
Yeah.
where one of the soldiers takes her up to the
Yeah,
to the
wanna
roof.
see fireworks,
wanna
yeah.
see some fireworks, and he sees all the shooting, and he's like, "See, that's what happens when you cut the head off the snake." And got
Right.
all the cops coming in.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Nate.
182 murders. I don't remember how many days are in August, and you guys can recite the little mnemonic poem or
31
whatever.
maybe?
Let's say it's 30,
30,
right?
just the
That's
easy
like-
numbers.
I can't do math right now. That's a shitload of murders per day.
What beer are you on?
I can't remember.
Okay. Okay. Let's move past the murders and past bashing Juarez. Nobody in Mexico is going to listen to this podcast now when we get to it.
We're not bashing. We're just stats.
No, I'm just reading statistics
Listen
here.
to you guys. Okay, let's move on to who wins the movie. Obviously not Juarez. So who
I
wins
told
the
you
movie?
mine already.
You said Del Toro.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wins. I think it's the war on drugs.
Listen
since-
to you,
Was
straddling.
it Nancy Reagan?
Because if you think about it, the movie I think is based off him because it kind of just leads to his final goal. He got to his objective, and I mean he is the hitman, quote unquote, and that's what Sicario means.
Don't forget,
in Spanish.
you can. Does Taylor Sheridan win this movie as his first screenplay? Does the director win this movie? I mean, it has a budget of $30 million, makes $85 million. It's pretty good. Josh Brolin. Now, three
Josh
of the guys.
Brolin
So
did.
the second movie, the sequel, Sicario: Day of the Soldado, focuses more around Josh Brolin, Jonathan Donovan, and Benicio del Toro. So those three alone, because you're not having Emily Blunt in that movie, all right, or her partner. So it's those guys again overreacting to an incident that takes place. I think that Emily Blunt wins this movie because she sets the tone right away as like surrogate for the audience, and she probably learns the most throughout the movie, is affected the most, changes the most, and her lack of appearance in the second movie does hinder it. Like, she's very important because even if you take her out of this movie and just run the movie without her, it's still going to be a good action flick, right? Still going to have good scenes.
Yeah.
But her in there really reshapes the movie. Because even if you don't have Del Toro, but you still do the same things and it's just maybe as a SWAT unit to take out the cartel, still going to be powerful. I think you have to have Emily Blunt's character, and I think she wins the movie. And again, her lack of appearance in the second film, it hinders it. Because I would say Sicario 2, although good, is not as good as Sicario 1. It's like the True Detective Season 2 thing. Everybody says True Detective Season 2 sucks. Okay, fair enough. It's not as good as True Detective Season 1. But if True Detective Season 2 existed on its own, people would think it's pretty good.
I missed that one.
And
Who was in
Rand.
that one again?
What was
The
it?
second season of True Detective?
Yeah.
No, I know who was
Who's in it?
the star of those.
Oh, Rachel McAdams, Vince Vaughn,
Okay.
Colin
I only saw
Farrell.
I only saw the first one. That's
Yeah,
all I
and
saw.
it's one by as far as the best, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah.
that people compare that to the first and second one. Just like Soldado here, or Sicario 2, is not really a direct sequel. It's kind of its own film. Same characters though, but not really.
Different
doesn't play
storyline,
off
plot,
right.
yeah.
Doesn't play off this
Still
storyline at
border
all.
issue, obviously, but
Yeah,
different.
it's more of like the war on terror
yeah,
versus
just a different view
yeah.
on it. But don't want to spoil it for you, Nate.
Yeah, you need to watch that.
Yeah,
Get it on Amazon.
It is like it's a very morally grounding character to where, like, say, where do you stand, sort of situation. What would you do in her position?
Yeah, I agree.
I'd go with the flow.
You're breaking every law imaginable,
Yeah.
and you're essentially signing that you're responsible for it.
Yeah.
In the end.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
to know that they essentially openly kill. I mean, I know they were at threat of gunfire and whatnot on the border there.
Yeah, but no one's going to sweat 8 cartel members getting killed.
And that's what they say. They're
Yeah, they
like,
say,
it won't
yeah.
even be a newspaper article.
Right, that's what they do say. But, I mean, I would think most people would agree with that.
And another part of this movie, too, which is so horrible, is the Silvio, the
cop.
Cop, right? you see the mom take the son to a soccer game
At the very end, final
at the
scene.
very end, and there's gunfire, and they just like continue life. Like that's a part of life for them,
Right.
And you don't understand
Normal.
Like, yeah, I mean the explosions that she sees from across the border is just like, yeah, that's a part of life for Juarez.
Yeah.
Explosions aren't a big deal.
Yep.
You just know that one day you might lose your father and.
Who was on the take, by the way?
Yeah.
It's just crazy to think. It's just right there, though.
But if you can't beat them, join them. Is that the
No,
mentality?
but
or
we-
you
but we-
join,
but no,
you
but
know?
like
remember
you
we-
said, that necessary evil, I think.
We
You just
briefly
gotta-
briefly mentioned like you can't probably say no to the cartel, and even if they did, he doesn't live in a great house and probably have a lot of money, so being on the take probably gives him a little bit extra to survive, or maybe afford for his kid to play soccer, and get the cleats and get the outfit or whatever it is he's wearing. I mean, they're kind of playing on a dirt
Yeah.
field or whatever it's called. How about
It's called the dirt field, yeah.
now this movie obviously gets a sequel, and you have not seen Sicario 2.
No.
I will
don't know
say
anything about
I
it.
will say Sicario 2 leaves it wide open for a Sicario 3, which they are in talks to do. I want the third movie. So Nelly and I saw Sicario 2 together. You want the third movie too?
Yeah, the third. I put down also a prequel would be kind of interesting to see how, as a prosecutor, Alejandro,
Oh, you
all
want to
the-
see how he becomes?
Yeah,
what
how
he
he
is.
becomes that. Maybe he has some training and then show how he made
I don't
up
want
with
to see
the
his
CIA.
family get killed though.
Well,
Not
no,
the
you
way,
don't have to
not
see
the
it.
way they do it.
No, but not.
Okay.
But just to see his story, just because I feel like Sicario, he's the hitman.
There's a story of Josh Brolin and Jeffrey Donovan in
That
here
true.
too.
Yeah,
You could
that
do with
that
those
could be the
guys.
third one.
There's something that I read online that when they enter Juarez, that he looks, Benicio del Toro's character, he looks at the wall and he sees a missing poster.
Yeah.
Two missing posters. And it's actually his wife and his daughter
Oh, it was.
that they allude to.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that like a behind the scenes thing, or
I
are you
don't
supposed to
know.
pick that up?
I
Because
read
I
it
didn't pick
online.
that up.
Like, I don't know how you would know.
Sounds like
that
some
necessarily.
half-ass internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last names match or something.
Everything I say, take with a grain of salt. But that's what I read, is that you're supposed to interpret after you watch the movie and know the story that was his.
Of all the things I'm going to come back to and think about, it's him watching the
Yeah,
one,
put that on a
the missing
replay.
person poster.
Wait, rewind.
Yeah.
Wonder if my 24 hours are up on my rental. I'm about to go over and see if I can
Where's my free trial?
Yeah, no kidding. I feel bad. Joe was going to, rewatch this movie, and Joe rented it, and so hopefully he watches it again because it's such a good movie. But he, I think, paid a couple bucks, and I don't even know if he's going to rewatch it in time before the rental goes away. How about give it a movie ranking? I give it a 10.
I give it a 9.
Give it an 8 because I'm a hard critic.
Yeah.
No
A lot of
stars.
room for improvement.
Thumbs
No.
up.
No. Can I share some statistics with you?
Are these more Juarez
Facts.
murder stats?
No, they're not.
All right, well, hurry up because we're pushing time for the audience to want to stick around for this.
Okay, in Texas, you cannot have an I or an O for fear of confusion with a 1 and a 0 on your license plate. It's a fun fact for you.
What?
Yeah.
I'm not sticking around for these fun facts
All
about
right,
the state of Texas.
Hold on.
You got anything
The
good?
Thermal shots were recorded.
Those are
Ooh,
cool.
those are really good.
Cool. I was put down for one of my
They were
scenes.
not recorded in post-production. They were realistic, straight from whatever this means to you, an FLIR space SC 8300.
Space.
Go.
See? Just say from the optics.
Right? What else do I got for you? There were over 50 F words in probably a very small script for being as long as this movie was.
Count them?
I didn't personally.
Someone
count that
did.
now, but somebody did.
It's the same
10
person. The same person who just assumes that that's his wife and kid on the poster.
Yeah, those assumers.
Okay. All right.
10 S words.
Okay. We're done with the stats here. Nate, thank you for the
Oh,
stats.
also, if you just happen to get the inclination to visit Juarez, Mexico, for any inclination, you need to rent a white SUV. Do not rent a black one because it's assumed you're a part of the cartel.
Okay.
It's not like Tijuana.
No,
you don't want to go Juarez.
You got
thinking it's
anything to add to
Tijuana.
put this movie to
No,
bed?
Nope, those are good stats.
Nate?
Good facts.
Okay.
I shared them all.
So-
I'm empty.
Next week, we're hopefully going to have Joe back with us. We're going to go over our top 5 favorite gunslingers. Okay? Whether it's Western, sci-fi.
That is an unrestricted category.
Yep. Whatever you want to put it in there. You have to defend it. Top 5 in order. Favorite gunslingers. Okay? Again, we want to thank you guys for listening tonight. Go out to the Aliens and Cowboys at follow us on Twitter at Alien and Cowboy. Email us comments, questions, concerns, aliensandcowboys@gmail.com. Go out, give us a 5-star rating, subscribe, hit the review button, leave us a review. Tell your friends, tell your mom. Nate's mom listens. Go out to the Watchmen for Nixon podcast, download that, same thing, 5-star, subscribe. Joe and I are going to try to, in the month of September, put out the Alan Moore V for Vendetta movie review. I know it's a Wachowski sister movie, but it's based off an Alan Moore comic who also does Watchmen. So we're going to put that out sometime in September just to have one more thing out before we convene in October for the weekly review of that Watchmen TV show. Which, if you haven't seen the trailer for that as well, awesome trailer. Comic-Con had it 2 weeks ago.
Also watch the movie.
Yeah, the movie's good. Really good.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch
Or
that.
better
I haven't seen it
yet,
You know, it's
Buy the
funny.
graphic
I'll tell you,
novel.
one thing I realized, because we don't read comics, we talked about how in the Aliens Cowboys we don't talk.
Obviously, don't read.
No, read comics. Joe actually read the Watchmen comics before, so I was kind of taken aback and shocked by that, and I felt like the idiot
alert.
on the podcast. I'm like, yeah, we don't read comics. Because actually, I've read this. I'm like, geez, great. Way to, at least somebody did.
Joe is the talent of this podcast.
He's great.
Holy smokes.
That's right. Other than that, guys, again, top 5 gunslingers next week. Hopefully Joe's with us, and we'll see you guys then. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.